Hello, this is going to be my class enhancing PvP uh, Magicka Sorcerer build for the Elder Scrolls Online. Uh, as I said in my previous Arcanist video, I like to focus on what classes buff what in order to keep class identity kind of focused on and unique builds for my characters. So I'll go through the stat sheet real quick. Again, I'm sitting at about 30,000 health here. I've got a decent amount of magicka. I've got 33 points into health and 31 into mag, just to make sure that I get to that 30,000 threshold. I've got pretty decent recovery unbuffed. Damage isn't quite up right now because I'm not popped my potion yet or anything like that. But here's the penetration is pretty decent as well. Resistance is really good on this character. I've got minor resolve passive from Bound Aegis, so that helps quite a bit keep this up. But let's get into the gear that I'm wearing. This is a monster setup with 2 arena weapons, a mythic, and uh, just a 2-piece, I should say 1-piece trainee, 1-piece druid's braid to fill up the health a little bit more. So the front bar weapon I have is the Master's Perfected Lightning Staff. This pairs with the Destructive Impact skill, and with the Lightning Staff it creates AoE damage. This will give me 703 weapon damage. Again, Vadishran Ice Staff, this is pretty much a staple for me. This is such a powerful weapon for PvP, and I always go with it powered because that's where I put my resistance and healing and things on my back bar, so I always want to get that extra buff from the back bar heals. And on this build I'm running Kra'gh. Gives me a little bit more penetration with the 1-piece, but then it also does physical damage. Well, why would I be facing or focusing on that? The Sorcerer, if you look at the energized passive, gets an increase to physical and shock damage. So when I went in looking for sets to run, this was one of the things that popped up that I thought would be helpful because it procs quite a lot, and it does some pretty decent damage, and it's physical damage as well, as it's got that in the penetration on the first line there. The second set that I'm using is Thunderbugs. So I'll go over where to get these sets here in a minute. This gives me a couple lines of armor and some weapon damage. And then when I take physical damage, which you're going to get a lot of that in PvP, you deal shock damage, and this is based on weapon damage. So again, this will go up even more when I pop that on, for example. That should make my weapon damage go up pretty decent there. It's now up over 4,400. So we'll see what the damage is now. And this is in an AoE, and this can proc every 3 seconds. This hits quite often, actually. There's the other piece of Kra'gh. There's my Druid's Braid, and I should probably go a little bit slower with this, sorry. Reinforced medium with every piece is triglyphed, by the way. Prismatic defense. Reinforced heavy, Thunderbug. Light divines for the shoulders. Light divines for the sash. Light divines for the trainee hands. Reinforced heavy Thunderbug. Heavy reinforced Sabatons. And then I have a Thunderbug necklace and ring infused. And then I have the Malakath's brand of brutality. Now, I know that a lot of people say, oh man, it's going to cut your crit damage in half. That's true, but it buffs all of my standard damage by 16%. So why would that be important? Well, if everybody's out there building for impen like they do, your critical damage is going to get nerfed. So if I can buff my flat damage, which happens all the time, not just a percentage of the time, then that damage is going to go through no matter what they do with the impenetrable stuff. Now, on top of that, as you can see, I have a lot of penetration. So my damage is going to get buffed with the pen, and because I'm buffing another 16%, now again, the percentage is not going to show here. So how you need to look at percentage buffs is you need to go to your advanced tab like this, and then you go down. There's increased physical damage right here. Everything is buffed. From that ring. So once again, I'm in a campaign that doesn't have a whole lot of going on for the yellow division. So again, I'm running the Lover Mundus, in case you didn't catch that the first time. So let's look at this when I'm completely buffed up here. This do need to go over the skills as well. But here's my resistance here, as well as my damage. Let me pop my potion for recoveries. Now you can see my recoveries went up a little bit as well. And so let me go over the skills. On my front bar, I have Inner Light for the increased max magicka, as well as the it actually says 5% health there. Don't be fooled by that. When you slot this skill right here, you're going to actually get 7%, because what happens is when you have this filled in, you get 2% more recovery passively for slotting a Mage's Guild. So this gives you 5, but it actually gives you 7. So then I have Regenerative Ward. So actually my recoveries go up even further when I hit this. So now my recoveries are at 1945 there. So let's get back into the skills. This is the skill here that I proc my front bar weapon on. As you can see, it applies the concussion status effect, and it hits all nearby enemies within 5 meters. So this hits a lot of people. Then I've got Mage's Wrath for when something gets into execute range. Haunting Curse puts a bomb on the enemies. Then there's Power Overload, very strong skill for heavy attacks. And then for my back bar, I have Boundless Storm. This is 30 seconds of major resolve. It also does shock damage, and it gives me major expedition. Then there's Elemental Susceptibility for the back bar weapon proc. Critical Surge. Now my critical damage is nerfed by the ring, but my chance for doing critical damage is not nerfed. Just the damage. So I can still crit and have it heal me. Then I have a true heal here. Dark Conversion that costs stamina, that gives me magicka back and gives me minor berserk for 20 seconds. So, oh yes, and then my back bar ultimate is Temporal Guard. That's just basically an oh shit button, plus it gives me minor protection passively, but this already gives me minor protection as well. So this is just kind of here in case I need a get out of jail button. But let me go here to the way shrine, and I will travel to the other zone, or the other home base rather. And sorry, bud, I'm not going to group right now. Gonna ride out the gate and see if I can run into some NPCs to kind of demonstrate how this build runs. I'm running Ghastly Eyeball at the moment. I was able to get to 30,000 health without using Jewels of Misrule, and I found that I needed a little bit more mag recovery with a little bit more max mag on this build to be able to sustain doing the damage that I need to do on this build. So I normally run Jewels of Misrule, but for this build I just stuck with the mag recovery food that I had on me. So I'll just run up here to this lumber here and see if I can display how this works. So I'll get my resistances up. And as you can see, I'm hitting power overload and destructive touch, and I just cleaned out pretty well. I can aim from distance and hit her as soon as I'm not there. So that's essentially how the build works, mainly relying on the destructive clench skill. It is a shock ability that works pretty well for sorcerers, I would say. Run over here to the persistent little boogers. Gonna run over here to the keep and see if I can fight a couple of these armored guys that will run around, and I'll show a little bit more how this works. Never fails when I want to run into somebody, they're not there. Okay, there we go. I went the wrong way, figures. So here we go. Gonna hit this guy with and then overload also helps clean these guys off, as you can see all the physical damage I'm taking, and there we go. That's essentially my build for the Magicka Sorcerer. Sorry that took so long to run into those guys, but sometimes that's how it goes. Thank you for watching, and I'll try and get some more of these videos put together. Bye.